Jai Shri Ram Gita Trivia. In the first chapter, to begin with, Duryodhana starts addressing Drona, and Duryodhana utters 9 shlokas. Duryodhana utters 9 shlokas. And I have read so many commentaries, but nobody really gives any importance to Duryodhana, nor have they spent any time discussing what Duryodhana was trying to say and what was his psychological state of mind. Okay, at least not in detail. But I think it's very interesting. Duryodhana utters 9 shlokas in the first chapter from the 3rd shloka to the 11th one. That's point number 1. Point number 2 I want you to remember is Duryodhana listed out 19 warriors or Maharathis on the Pandava side. He named 14 and the other 5 are the sons of Draupadiya. They are 5. So the total number of warriors or Maharathis, Maharathi means one who is competent to deal with 10,000 warriors single-handedly. That is a Maharathi. So Maharathi is one who is equivalent or greater than 10,000 warriors. So 19 Maharathis are mentioned by Duryodhana who are fighting for the Pandavas. Whereas on the Kaurava side, Duryodhana mentions only 7. The 7 are the Drona himself, Drona, Bhishma, Karna, Vikarna, Krupacharya, Ashwathama, Bhurishrava. Strangely, Duryodhana does not include himself. So I think you should give him some brownie points for humility. He was definitely a great warrior. He was also a Maharathi. And he did not include Dushasan. And perhaps Dushasan was not. So at least 8. Now we have to speculate what he was trying to say. You see, if you go to the first chapter 10th shloka, Duryodhana actually says something which is very interesting, and commentators have differed on their interpretation of the 10th shloka. Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishma virakshitam paryaptam tvidame tesham balam bhima virakshitam. So aparyaptam. Now this word aparyaptam can mean unlimited. Aparyaptam can also mean incomplete, depending on the context and the sentence. Aparyaptamaina sampada. Aparyaptamaina. In Telugu at least, I'm not an authority in Hindi, so I think that possibility in Hindi and Sanskrit is also there. Aparyapt. Matlab infinite. Aparyaptamaina sampada would mean infinite. ఈ పని అపర్యాప్తంగానే మిగిలిపోయింది. అపర్యాప్తం, incomplete. So incomplete, infinite are almost like opposites on the other ends of the spectrum. So this is a dangerous word. And then paryapt. Paryapt means complete. Paryapt also means sufficient. So what did he say? Aparyaptam tadasmakam. Please look at first chapter 10th shloka. Duryodhana said, Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishma virakshitam paryaptam tvidame tesham balam bhima virakshitam. Asmakam, ours, mana yokka. Bhishma virakshitam. Aparyaptam, aparimita-mainadi, ajeya-mainadi. Some commentators said that Duryodhana claims that his side is aparyaptam. That means aparimita-mainadi. That means infinite, very strong, indestructible, powerful, and unlimited. So he is using a superlative in a very positive sense. He is not using the second meaning of aparyaptam, which is incomplete. Aparyaptam ga migilipoyindi. That's what some commentators say. And some commentators say, no, Duryodhana is actually saying ours is inadequate and Pandava side protected by Bhima is adequate. More commentators are supporting the interpretation that Duryodhana is saying ours is immeasurable, unconquerable, invincible, infinite, but theirs, protected by Bhima is very limited. So less number of commentators are saying this. So here is a very interesting situation where on one shloka great scholars are completely differing in their understanding of what that shloka means. I did a little bit of research. So when I look at the 11th shloka, what Duryodhana says in the 11th shloka gives us some indications of what could be Duryodhana's state of mind. The 11th shloka is Ayaneshu cha sarveshu yada bhagam avasthitha bhishmame vabhirakshantu bhishmame vabhirakshantu bhavanta sarvayevahi. సో కనుక మీరందరూ మీ మీ స్థానాల్లో సుస్థిరంగా నిలిచి అన్ని వైపుల నుంచి నిశ్చయంగా భీష్ముణ్ణి రక్షించండి. సో Duryodhana is saying, all of you please stay in your own stations according to the structure that we have planned out in the phalanx, vyuham, and make sure that you protect Bhishma. Now as soon as Duryodhana said this, then the next shloka is actually Bhishma responding to all this. Tasya sanjanayan harsham kuruvruddha pitamaha simhanadam vinadyochaihi shankam dadmau pratapavan. కురువృద్ధుడైన ప్రతాపశాలి అయిన భీష్ముడు పితామహుడు ఈ మాటలు విని దుర్యోధనుని సంతోషపెట్టడానికి ఉచ్ఛస్వరముతో సింహనాదమునర్చి తన శంఖమును పూరించెను. సో ఆఫ్టర్ హియరింగ్ దీస్ వర్డ్స్ ఆఫ్ దుర్యోధన, భీష్మ ఐ బిలీవ్ took his shankham and loudly blew his conch shell to, to perhaps inspire, enhance the confidence of, and does it include it? Tasya sanjanayan harsham. That means kaliginchuchu. He wanted to create, he wanted Duryodhana to feel happy and confident. Tasya sanjanayan harsham kuruvruddha pitamaha simhanadam vinadyochai shankam dadmau pratapavan. So ప్రతాపవాన్ పరాక్రమంతుడు అయిన భీష్ముడు. సో భీష్మ is a man of great prowess who defeated, remember, Parashurama himself. Okay, so Bhishma blew the conch, and then all the other conches blew, and that rest of the discussion is we will not take up that now. I noticed that Duryodhana does not include himself or Dushasana. That is one point I think I told you. Duryodhana himself is a Maharathi. So why did he list only 7 here? He should have included himself and then it would have been 8. But for some reason he did not include Dushasan. Dushasan perhaps was not a Maharathi. So let's keep that aside. Now, if you look at the 11th shloka, Duryodhana is saying that you should all protect Bhishma. Now, it strikes me as very ironical. Why would Bhishma, who defeated Parashurama, require any protection? It's like saying that a lion needs protection and some dogs have to be employed to give protection to a lion. Even if a lion is sleeping, do you think any other animal would come and try to attack it? So anyway, nobody would dare to attack a lion, and a lion perhaps does not require any security guards. The very fact that Duryodhana is saying that Bhishma himself requires security perhaps is an admission of some deep-seated psychological fear, paranoia, that Bhishma, because Bhishma earlier said that he will not kill Pandavas, so Bhishma is vulnerable because of this decision of his not to kill the Pandavas, and Duryodhana was certain that the Pandavas will go to any extent. With Krishna on their side, Pandavas will resort to any kind of tricks which he thinks is adharma, while he himself is adharma personified. He is scared that under Krishna's leadership Pandavas will resort to all hook and crook, all adharmic means. So now Bhishma is vulnerable. Therefore this so-called Bhishma, who is a lion, requires the protection of and security guards. Dogs, security guards must be there. Strange situation. Now if you take the whole thing into perspective, that's an indication of fear. That means Duryodhana should be actually feeling, though our army is much bigger, 11 Akshohinis, theirs is only 7. And here we have Bhishma who has defeated Parashurama. And in spite of all that, we are not as strong. And also because if you dig deep into the psychology of Duryodhana, Duryodhana was beaten up several times by Bhishma. Not just Duryodhana, all of them got thrashed by Bhima, several times during their childhood. And Duryodhana made several attempts to kill Bhima, but he did not succeed. Bhima seems to be invincible. So this fear of Bhima is also very, very deeply embedded in the psyche of Duryodhana. So my conclusion is that Duryodhana was actually saying aparyaptam. Duryodhana is actually saying ours is weak, incomplete in some sense, aparyaptam. My interpretation would be Duryodhana is declaring openly that ours is incomplete, so please protect this fellow Bhishma, since it's already incomplete and he is the only hope and he is the commander in chief, generalissimo. So please protect him, because if he goes, then we are wiped out. So as long as he is there, some hope is there. Perhaps even if he doesn't kill the Pandavas, perhaps he will wipe out, which is what he said also, that he will wipe out the rest of the army. So this is how. Anyway, all the commentators, whatever they said, whether they said it is unlimited and whether they said it is limited and inadequate, they conclude that Duryodhana, at least most of them conclude, either way, whatever interpretation they give, they conclude that Duryodhana seems to be scared. Because though it is immeasurable and unconquerable and all that, still he seems to be scared. Or some people, say that he is just blustering, indulging in rhodomontade, braggadocio, which he was always, accustomed to indulging in this kind of bragging. So he was perhaps bragging. Well, I leave it there. Interesting, I suppose. Remember, the points here are Duryodhana uttered 9 shlokas. I will read them out if you are interested in listening. And he listed 19 warriors of the Pandava side and only 7. And Duryodhana's shlokas are from first chapter 3 to 11. So let us see the third shlokam. पश्यैतां पाण्डुपुत्राणाम् आचार्य महतीं च मुं व्यूढां द्रुपदपुत्रेण तव शिष्येण धीमता अत्र शूरा महेश्वासा भीमार्जुन समायुधि. I think you should include Drushtadhyumna also. If you include Drushtadhyumna, then it should be 20, isn't it? 20 on the Pandava side. पश्यैतां पाण्डुपुत्राणाम् आचार्य महतीं च मुं व्यूढां द्रुपदपुत्रेण तव शिष्येण धीमता. Dhimata means very intellectual, very buddhimantudu, one who is very shrewd and smart and clever and brilliant and all that. So 20, now make it 20. Pashyaitam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatin Chamum Vyudham Drupadaputrena Tavasishyena Dhimata Atra Shura Maheshwasa Bhimarjuna Samayudhi, equal to Bhima and Arjuna. Who? Yudhano is Satyaki. Satyaki is a cousin and disciple of Krishna and also a companion, friend and disciple of Arjuna also. Satyaki is also worshipped as a god. Now if you go to Chennai, you have a temple, Parthasarathi temple. Parthasarathi temple in Chennai has a huge statue of Krishna, some 10 feet statue with a huge moustache. That is the only temple where I have seen Krishna with a moustache. And in that temple beside Krishna you will find Satyaki also. Satyaki is also worshipped. Atra Shura Maheshwasa Bhimarjuna Samayuthi Yuyudhano Viratascha Drupadascha Maharadaha Drushtaketus Chekitanaha Kashirajascha Viryavan Purujit Kuntibojascha Saibhyascha Narapungavaha Yudhamanyuscha, that means Abhimanyu. Yudhamanyuscha Vikranta Yudhamanyuscha Vikranta Uttamaujascha Viryavan Saubhadro, Yudhamanyu is not Abhimanyu. Saubhadra means Abhimanyu. Saubhadro Draupadeyas, that means the 5 sons of Pandavas born of Draupadi. Draupadeyascha Sarvayeva Maharadha, all of them are Maharathis. And so 20, let us make it 20 on the Pandava side. And Duryodhana continues, Asmakantu Vishishtaye Tannibodha Dvijottama Nayaka mama sainyasya sanyartham tan bravimite. Now I will list out on our side, O Brahmana. Now he is reminding Drona that he is a Brahmin. In fact, that's a taunt actually, which means, maybe you are a Brahmin, and because you are a Brahmin, maybe you are not going to really give a tough fight like a Kshatriya should. Taunting subtly. Bhavan bhishmascha karnascha kripascha samitinjaya ashwathama vikarnascha saumadettis tadhaivacha. Bhavan means you yourself. You, Bhishma, Karna, Krupa, and Ashwathama, Vikarna, Saumadattischa, Anyecha Bhavashura Madatte Tyakta Jivita, and many others. Nana Shastra Praharana Sarve Yuddha Visharada. Aparyaptam Tadasmakam Balam Bhishma Virakshitam. Paryaptam Tvidametesham Balam Bhima Virakshitam. And then the final Duryodhana Shloka, which is the 11th one. Ayaneshu cha sarveshu yada bhagam avastitha bhishmameva virakshantu bhavantah sarva yevahi. కనుక మీరందరూ మీ స్థానాల్లో సుస్థిరంగా ఉండి అన్ని వైపుల నుండి నిశ్చయంగా భీష్ముణ్ణి రక్షించండి. ప్లీజ్ ప్రొటెక్ట్ భీష్మ ఫ్రమ్ ఆల్ సైడ్స్. జై శ్రీరామ్.